There are places where the road itself tells you that you are leaving the ordinary world behind. Deadwood, Idaho is one of those places. Hidden in the mountains northeast of Boise and southeast of Cascade, it is reached by long seasonal forest roads that wind through timber, steep mountain country, and miles of open backcountry. Today, the reward is Deadwood Reservoir, a remote mountain lake known for camping, boating, fishing, and quiet shorelines. But underneath that modern adventure is the story of an Idaho gold camp that flashed into existence, disappeared, and later became the site of a major engineering project. The name Deadwood was attached to mining activity in the basin during Idaho's early gold rush years. A district was organized in 1864, but the first excitement did not last. Then, prospectors led by Nathan Smith found more promising ground, and miners formally organized a new Deadwood district on August 16, 1867. When reports reached Idaho City, a stampede followed on September 8th and 9th. Prospectors reported gulches that produced from 50 cents to $2 to the pan. Those figures created real excitement in a territory where miners constantly moved from one rumor to the next. By the middle of September, favorable reports convinced many people that Deadwood might revive the great placer mining days Idaho had experienced only a few years earlier. Before winter closed the basin, Deadwood City was already described as quite a little town. The real work began in May of 1868. About 100 men entered the established placer ground, while others waited for snow to melt from newer claims. Water was the key to profitable placer mining, so crews built a large ditch capable of carrying hundreds of miners inches into dry gulches. With that water, miners could operate rockers, sluices, and hydraulic equipment instead of relying only on hand panning. Some of the early returns were impressive. Idaho historical records describe a 3-man company recovering $5,000 with a hydraulic giant in only 2 weeks. 2 men reportedly took out $212 in 2 days, while another pair recovered $70 in a single day using a rocker. Those were exceptional results, not what every miner earned, but they explained why men were willing to haul equipment and supplies into such isolated country. Deadwood also showed signs of quartz wealth. Rich outcrops and veins were found during 1868, including one sample reportedly worked at 62 ounces to the ton using a rough process. Quartz mining required more capital, machinery, and development than washing stream gravel, but those hard rock deposits ultimately accounted for much of the district's production. Even so, Deadwood's first boom was brief. In 1869, attention shifted toward the new Loon Creek discoveries. Miners, merchants, and investment followed the next promising strike. By 1876, Deadwood City was a ghost town. Mining returned decades later, especially from 1924 to 1932, and by 1947, a Deadwood lead-zinc property had produced approximately $1 million. Then, the basin entered a completely different era. Between 1929 and 1931, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation constructed Deadwood Dam in a narrow granite canyon. The concrete arch structure is 165 feet high and 749 feet long at the crest. Behind it, Deadwood Reservoir stretches roughly 3.5 miles and covers about 3,100 acres, with a total storage capacity of 154,000 acre-feet. The stored water helps regulate flows used for irrigation and power generation farther downstream in the Payette River system. Building a dam this far into the mountains required much more than pouring concrete. Roads had to be improved, workers and materials had to reach an isolated construction site, and operations had to contend with a short mountain season. The result permanently changed the basin, covering part of the old landscape and creating the lake visitors see today. Modern Deadwood is an adventure destination precisely because it remains difficult to reach. The reservoir sits about 5,300 feet, surrounded by forest and higher peaks. Visitors come to camp, boat, paddle quiet coves, swim, hike, ride backcountry roads and trails, and fish for kokanee, trout, and salmon species. The isolation also demands preparations. Routes may be narrow, rough, dusty, damaged, or blocked by snow, and there is limited service once you leave the main highways. Current road, fire, campground, and water conditions should always be checked before your trip. What makes Deadwood special is the way its history remains tied to the adventure. Miners came because the basin was difficult, unknown, and full of possibility. Dam builders later faced the same remoteness with different tools and a different purpose. Today, travelers still earn the view through distance, roads, and preparation. Standing beside Deadwood Reservoir, it is easy to only see the calm water and mountain reflections. But the basin has witnessed gold rushes, abandoned camps, hard rock mining, road building, concrete construction, and generations of people searching for something beyond the easy places. Deadwood is more than a destination. It is an Idaho story about ambition, isolation, transformation, and the enduring pull of wild country.